when I was playing Become Miracle, I played versus SKTs. Back then, I didn't even knew that Bang and Wolf will become one of the best bot lane ever.
아무래도 좀 긴 시간이 있었다 보니까 후이 선수도 뭐 많은 성장을 하셨을 것 같아요. 그때는 K를 했었나 뭐 K밖에 못하는 선수였는데
It's pretty crazy how people grows up, and then it's pretty excited that I'm going to face them again.
요새는 잘한다는 얘기가 되게 많더라고요. 그래서 뭐 약간은 걱정되는 선수네요.
I love hearing players talk about the history and how they've competed in the past against one another. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. North America's CLG Gaming will be taking on Korea's SKTelecom T1 in just a moment. And both of these teams come off a hard day too.
Yeah, a really tough day too as well if you are SKT, because they were expected to drop maybe one game this whole tournament, and they got taken out by both the Flash Wolves and RNG, who are still undefeated. So that must hurt for the reigning world champions. But as I said yesterday, this is a team that can bounce back, and when they do, they are terrifying.
Yeah, they tend to do so in spectacular fashion. CLG Gaming, they struggled as well. They lost to the international wildcard squad of Supermassive, and they're starting to find more and more problems. We heard the analyst days talking about how maybe Stixxay was a little bit exposed, who he didn't have the biggest impact on that Lulu. Let's talk about Stixxay, maybe the Caitlyn, and how it just seems so pivotal for the team.
Yeah, I said it on day one. This is the now must-ban pick of the whole tournament, in my opinion, because they play around it so damn well. They set up for turret sieges, they use it to get him through laning phase, and we saw that when he wasn't on that, when he was on the Sivir, that was a big issue for the team. So you have to question the pick banning coming out of the CLG Gaming lineup to put him in such a rough situation in the first place. Yeah. But then Stixxay also for not being able to battle his way out.
Yes, I think that's fair. Sticking into the lane, giving up 3-4 solo kills is problematic. We'll expand on that in a little bit, but let's take a look at the starting rosters. On the blue side for this game, it is going to be Counter Logic Gaming. Dashawn up top, Xmithy in the jungle, Huhi in the mid lane, Stixxay the ADC, Aframu the support, and their coach, Zixlong.
And of course, on the opposite side of the wrist, it will be SKTelecom. Top lane is Duke, Blank their jungler, Faker in the mid lane, Bang their AD carry, their support Wolf, and of course the legendary Coach Coma in their corner.
All right, jumping into picks and bans. Yesterday, SKT committed to basically the same composition 2 games in a row. I think the support was the only one that was different, the Azir. It didn't work out for Faker. He had a very bad day for a player that is the best player in the world.
Yeah, exactly right. He's the best player in the world, and don't get me wrong, he stalled out those games beautifully and made it very hard for RNG at least to win. However, he didn't really go for those game-winning plays that you expect to see out of Faker. You saw him against the Tigers when they were in that grand final, making the scooping plays, catching out prey. I want to see if he does pick up Azir one more time, that we see the aggression out of him and see whether he can catch people unaware.
Luckily for SKT this time around, they're on the red side, so they're going to have the option to counterpick either for Faker or for Duke if they want to go that route. We're anticipating the Caitlyn ban targeted towards CLG. Do you think anything else gets taken off the table as well, or what would you do looking at the Americans?
I actually give a lot of respect to Xmithy's Kindred at the moment. I think that is one player we had huge questions about on the international stage and has stepped up. So we'll see if that also gets taken away.
All right, so Kindred is one of the ones to keep an eye out for. No real surprise, the Alistar has been denied, banned away. I believe that's 2 for 2 on the day. Maokai follows shortly, the Caitlyn's off. Let's see if it'll be a Kindred follow-up here for SKT. Of course, with CLG being on the blue side and the number of jungle first picks that we've seen, it is something to think about.
Yeah, it certainly is. Maokai is something that's very interesting. Dashawn did play it, and it was in a loss. Banning it on the blue side is so tough if you're CLG, because it is undisputably the best tank in the meta right now, and they obviously don't want to pick it for themselves, but it's too valuable to give away to Duke, especially if you don't want to ban Sivir. Maokai Sivir, his first 2 picks for SKT, are very potent.
All right, so let's find out what they decide to lock in. Sivir still available, will not be banned out by CLG. The last ban is the Rise, targeting that at Faker. He's used it on day 1 to great success. Coma, on the right-hand side of your screen, they're talking away, and they ban Bard. That one towards Aframu. So fearing Aframu just a little more, and surprising, maybe, is the Nidalee over the Kindred?
Yeah, especially because Blank didn't have the best performances yesterday on Nidalee. I mean, we heard some criticism. We also heard some criticism of Duke's use of teleport yesterday. Against a double teleport team, if you do not get back to lane and win it with your TP and you are Duke, then you have done a big disservice to Blank in your jungler. He can no longer be aggressive in that fashion. So I do think that Xmithy kind of has done SKT. It's a slight favor. It's still the best jungler in the game, at least in a lot of people's opinion.
Yeah, but if you use it effectively, right?
Yep.
Theoretical maximum potentials need to be reached by somebody piloting the champion. The response from SKT is the Echo for Duke. That'll be the second time he's played at this tournament. And another champion in Wolf's kit. This will be his 5th unique support pick across 5 games.
And that's really interesting, you know, because if there is someone you can question champion pool for, it is Wolf. But with the Kench now picking up the Braum, he has started to answer a lot of these questions. And I think that learnt a lot since last year's MSI, had a dominating Worlds, as did a lot of people on SKT, but has continued to get better with age.
And looking at how many support bans there have been throughout the tournament, it is interesting to see Braum obviously rising up as a lot of these other high priority picks are dropped off the table. What does that leave for Afro? Will it be the Thresh most likely, looking at the bans that are removed?
Certainly seems to be the case. And you understand Braum versus Nidalee, especially now that they've picked up Lucian as well. It's just as a nullifying pick right now. And it has a lot of good counter engage. One thing we learned about SKT yesterday, if they do fall behind, we'll kite back incredibly efficiently, but turn on a dive if you do overextend. Braum helps that even further.
We'll find out how effectively Wolf can do that, and also how CLG play around Braum and SKTelecom. Yesterday with 2 losses, SKT stalled out really heavily against RNG. I believe the game went just over an hour. Flash Wolves were able to a little bit more methodically close the match out, but what could CLG have gleaned from those victories? Kindred and Ezreal, the lock-ins here for SKT.
First one is obvious. Targeting Faker has always been a strategy, and it can get you an advantage early, but you need a plan to go from there. RNG's revolves around superior team fighting, whereas Flash Wolves fell back to macro play. I expect CLG to go back to their North American LCS roots here and go very heavily towards that macro. Try and get some good flanks out of Darshan and set up some nice teleport plays around these good neutral objective control.
All right, good neutral objective control. The Azir is going to help with that. Going to buy some time. Faker hovering the LeBlanc. It would be into the Azir that Huhi has locked in. That would be scary considering how Huhi... We expected him to have challenges coming into this tournament, and now a big gauntlet is thrown. Faker wants to go toe-to-toe.
Yeah, it certainly does. And we saw this match in the reverse yesterday with Xiaohu picking it up and doing very well in the matchup. Now Faker has his prized LeBlanc, and Huhi is one player, had a pretty decent day 1, but suffered against Naru day 2, and Faker is on a whole new level, especially in Assassins, so this is going to be a struggle for CLG.
And we have to see if Faker's going to pick it up, because yesterday I think he was 0-4-0 at some point on that Azir and didn't have the impact, but it is a slightly different champion. This time around, Faker's got all the tools in his kit to make plays for himself, and he has to do so if he's going to bring the damage to the table for the rest of SKT.
Yeah, it certainly does. A little bit better execution as well on Blank would certainly go a long way for SKT if they are going to start fighting back. It will start now. They're both 2-2. Whoever wins this owns the head-to-head, and that will mean a lot as we go through the second stages of the double round robin.
Zix, LOL, as well as Koma shaking hands there on the stage here at the mid-season Invitational. You guys jump on Twitter. Let us know who you think's going to win. I think this is a slightly biased towards Western regions using Twitter, but it still counts. Hashtag CLG win if you think it's going to be them or their opponents. Hashtag SKT win. We've been looking at who owns the Rift, who flies their flag higher, who wears more MSI icons, and for this matchup, it will be Korea's LCK that owns the Rift loading up into the game. It helped for RNG in game 1. We'll find out if it's needed for SKT in game 2.
Yeah, you see the white exploding across the stage there as we head on to Summoner's Rift. SKT looking to bounce back.
0-2 yesterday was SKT. You can hear the crowd erupting and immediately spawn. That is a teleport LeBlanc for Faker.
And this is something we saw a lot out of Pawn, and I have been watching Faker play him in solo queue quite a lot lately. Teleport on LeBlanc, you still have kill threat because you have a stronger jungler in the Kindred as the game progresses. However, you are able to 1-3-1 so efficiently early in the game, and already we see some action.
That we do. Exhaust thrown down, Stixay, skills, E, and flashes. Big target has just been painted on Stixay's back, but it is very early in the game, so Blank may not be able to have any cheeky plays.
Yeah, and right now, CLG are faced with the hard decision of do we now go into a lane swap with what is a very strong winning lane in Lucian Janna, or do we stick to our guns and our AD carry doesn't have flash? So we'll see whether they throw the gauntlet down, heading towards the mid lane. That looks like a lane swap to me for right now, quick shot, and oh, no, they go back to bottom.
Calling the bluff. Stixay and Afro. Gonna make it back into lane. just ahead of the minion line, and you can see Bang and Wolf hanging out around the Gromp, so they may have an early advantage.
So you see SKT already pinging it out. I think they call it the peanut invade, which is where you start Wolves, you go to Raptors, then you go straight away to blue buff if you are Nidalee, because she clears small camps with Pounce so well. So Xmithy, he started up the Wolf. We'll see whether he goes for it.
All right, let's keep a close eye on that one. Move very quickly for that to work out. Stixxay and Afro, they stopped off to do the Krugs. So SKT will be in lane just slightly ahead of their opponents. And Xmithy's doing a pretty good job here of clearing out on 6-8, despite some of those smaller nerfs and tweaks to Nidalee's kit.
We gave her extra damage on the Pounce, so, you know, we called them nerfs and tweaks. She no longer root things, but Nidalee has that decision to make of do I jungle healthily or quickly. And right now, Xmithy went with very quickly.
Very quickly indeed.
He didn't go for it, though.
Backed away. Moves away to the Brambleback instead of the Sentinel. And continuous trading here in the mid lane. Huhi is able to proc Faker's passive. And the Mark of the Kindred gets thrown down into Huhi. Tries to dissuade him just a little. This will be an interesting matchup to follow, as Huhi's got an early level 2. And the moment he uses his cooldowns, instantly backs away.
Yeah, certainly does. And Blank going to be able to pick up blue buff. And the RNG gods are on his side today. Will transition very easily into his first mark.
Well, after scolding them yesterday, the RNG gods were, maybe we'll find out if those marks can help out. And we've not taken a look at Duke. Oh, Huhi takes a big chunk of damage, and the chains go down. But
here comes Blank.
Throws a soldier in the direction of Faker to trade. Blank might be looking to set something up. Flash is available and double bust, but look at the top lane. Xmithy wants to reply in kind. Duke can't dash away just yet. Smithy's gonna pounce forward, get some damage, throws down the claws. It's not over yet. Javelin goes out. It's gonna be flashed away. But Summoner Spell traded.
That's really nice play out of Xmithy, to be honest, because he's able to get the tag in Cougar form. Then he keeps autoing until he has to throw the spear. It's just calculated play. It's nothing flashy, but this is what the jungler for CLG has been across the first 2 days of competition. Very solid.
And this is something we did not see out of Blank's Nidalee yesterday. That early game impact, that clear into gank pattern, is something that the man on your screen now, Blank, kind of needs to step up, kind of needs to answer, because he was a very slow presence. And I want to expand this a little bit because the whole of SKT underperformed yesterday.
Yeah, and you look at where it bleeds over into. So Duke is in the exact same same situation as Darshan is right now, where he's technically, Duke is in a winning lane. Echo should beat out Poppy since the Poppy nerfs. However, Xmithy gets up there early. Yesterday, it was Duke that had to burn the teleport to get back to lane and try and win against double TP. CLG have put that much pressure down on SKT that double teleport is no longer a threat for another 3.5, 4 minutes because they've used them both to get back to lanes early.
Let's find out how that impacts it. Darshan holding on to that for now, and Xmithy's going to come clear out this ward. Who he is trading with Faker, and I think pretty evenly. Neither mid laner has access to potions or cookies or biscuits, and Faker TP'd back to lane, so staying even on CS, but that wave will push to him very shortly. And down bottom, Stixxay and Afro, they're pushing into Bang and Wolf.
Yeah, they certainly are, and we'll see whether that does net them any advantage. I mean, Bang is very happy being under the turret. This is probably the one lane that does want to kind of control the minion wave a little bit more for SKT. Very rarely do Bang and Wolf pick winning lanes, but Blank for another time.
Yep, rinse and repeat. Flash and barrier available. Huhi takes a lot of damage. Blank is winning this trade. Wolf is doing a lot of damage. Defensive flash. Xmithy pounces forward, forces out Blank's flash as Huhi was forced to flash defensively. Trading summoners from mid lane for jungle, I think that's worth.
It's huge. Now Wolf and Bang want to go aggressive. That's a really bad play actually out of Huhi. He burns double summoner spells for just a flash out of Blank and makes Xmithy show one more time on the map. I mean, was never really going to be a kill opportunity if he had have just burnt the early summoner spell and got out of dodge.
Second time that Blank has roamed to that middle lane. Let's see if Huhi plays more defensively or places wards. Smithy snuck himself into the river, pounced over the Tribush. Javelin toss will be arcane shifted away from. So Bang and Wolf not under any threat. Take quick stock of the situation. Plus 10 CS for Duke, despite the one who was ganked. And of course, pretty much even for mid and ADC down bottom.
Yeah, and that's really interesting out of Duke because you feel like Darshan should have got the free teleport back to lane because he saw Faker TP in plain sight. He saw that Duke had to also burn his, so should have given him an opportunity. Instead, he chose to walk back to lane.
Ooh, Hoovy slides, glides, puts down the Emperor's Divide, flash forward from Smithy, and I think that was a tad overeager. Unfortunately, not able to kill Faker, but they traded, flash for flash.
And that was really interesting because Faker doesn't, he's level 6, but it doesn't look like he has a point in his ultimate. He actually took an extra point in chain, so a slight mechanical error out of Faker there.
He took
actually cost him a summoner spell.
Armor penetration runes yesterday, maybe not skilling his ultimate today. That is a problem. We'll continue talking about that in a moment because Darshan's being dove, the verdict is available, and he gets them both!
That's good play out of Darshan. All right, so able to kick 2 people out from underneath his turret. Duke doesn't have ultimate to get back there in time. And Afromu now in some trouble.
He is in a little bit. Very good Howling Gale will dissuade Bang.
But this is scary because Bang and Wolf with Ezreal Braum, which is an okay lane, has been able to go equal, if not better, with Stixxay and Afro because of that burnt flash at level 1. Lucian Janna should be able to bully any melee support.
Looks like they kept themselves relevant. Afro's going very, very aggressive here. Burns the exhaust because Xmithy's come in from behind and it's bought enough time for Stixxay to arrive. Xmithy's going to continue looking to chase. Winter's Bite will slow Smithy down a sidestep, but look at the mid lane. Who he's coming from the river. I think Wolf's made it out.
Yeah, he's completely fine. And another mistake out of CLG. I mean, burning another summoner spell for gaining 0 in response.
Afro was down to 5 hit points, trying to play the epic bait. Almost worked, but didn't get anything in response.
And I believe, like, CLG were the most lane-swapping team coming into this tournament. We expected to see crisp team and macro play out of them. However, not known for their individual mechanical prowess. And even their decision-making is now to be questioned because Darshan's just teleported back to lane and both teleports are now available. So Afro and Stixxay need to be so careful.
They absolutely do. Flashes are available for them, luckily. Huhi is going to get gifted this blue buff. He's picked up a Negatron Cloak as his first item back. Predictable. As Faker hits level 7, he's now skilled at ultimate. And with the teleports available, this could be problematic. Darshan and Smithy, they're looking to pressure at least one of those TPs. An instant back away. Phase dive forward here for Duke. Faker throws out the chains, but it misses. Is 2 chains going to be a thing? It's not even going to get needed. Darshan survives with the heal thanks to Smithy. 200 hit points, 100 hit points. The dash against the wall. No stun. And Duke picks up the kill. It's first blood, SKT.
And once again, just not respecting the teleport on the LeBlanc in the mid lane. Maybe they're not used to playing against it, but Faker able to get into top and impact that side of the map now that Duke is snowballed. I mean, he's 25 CS up. He can do whatever he wants on the bottom side of the map, and there will be no response for at least 2.5 minutes because Darshan used it to get back to lane.
25 CS, first blood, around 1,000 gold, and all of the pressure in the game. SKT are 1,000 gold up, and that's all in Duke's back pocket.
They're 1,000 gold up, and they have a very good scaling comp. I mean, so does CLG, but Kindred arguably out team fights in Italy late game, and it is Faker's LeBlanc, so it's not like this pick will drop off. I mean, as good as the likes of Xiaohu, Maple on this champion, if not better, actually just better. So going to be able to see him try and replicate Xiaohu's magic from yesterday.
Find out if he can. Should be able to. I mean, those are the expectations, but the expectations were there for Faker and SKT yesterday as well. And they were simply outplayed by both Royal Never Give Up and the Flash Wolves, which is not something really anybody was truly expecting coming into this tournament.
The most optimistic LPL fans would not
agree with that statement. Yeah.
With confidence, I don't think, Quickshot, but you know, they've performed so well so far.
It's just so interesting when you looked at the day 1 games versus day 2, and just how contrasting and different they were. Darshan is just getting beat up. Darkseal picked up for Duke, the Sheen as well. Devourer for Blank already. He's in trouble. He gets rooted, luckily in front of a soldier, so Faker opts not continue that trade, but wins it.
And another time we've seen Nidalee picked up and lanes start to lose early, and all of a sudden Xmithy, although he got a good gank towards the earlier stages of the game in the top lane to burn Duke's teleport, has just been nullified completely. Because if he goes and finds Kindred, his lanes will be the ones that are slower to collapse. So it's just not even worth it for him.
No, it really isn't. Smithy and Huhi group up, put some damage down on this tower. And good burst from Faker.
So this is something I do like to talk about. If you get Krugs on Nidalee, you can just go hit a turret and start chipping it down. Look for that poke damage.
Oh, sorry to cut you off, Spawn, but there's a teleport from Duke. Remember, Dashan will not have his available for a few more seconds. Emperor's Divide will buy some time for Huhi, but Bang's not done yet. True Shot Barrage shoots and tags Huhi. That was a late barrier, and it was not even needed.
It certainly was not, and all of a sudden, for that chip damage, they give up 3 summoner spells one more time. Sure, Duke burns teleport, but they will get Dragon at the same time, as well as all of that pressure in the mid lane. So SKT looking much more crisp in their macro play, but CLG are just making like unexpected micro mistakes.
Now, maybe faltering under some of the pressure. Luckily for CLG, they now have a very small window of opportunity where Dashan's flash is available. Faker wanted to do something about that and just denies additional pressure up top. But look at that big disparity. Duke, 30 CS up.
Yeah.
And I think also let's give some props to Huhi here. Has dealt with some of that aggression from Faker, is even on CS, and he's almost got that Abyssal as well.
The problem is that Faker with teleport isn't looking to crush the laning phase. He wants to go equal, get some kill threat, but then be able to go into the bottom lane. Who answers a LeBlanc with teleport? You can't send the Lucian down there. You definitely cannot send the team fighting Azir because that just breaks open your whole composition. So with one summoner spell, Faker no longer has to win his lane. He can play safer, which he didn't have the luxury to do yesterday, and just get to the latter stages.
All right, get to the latter stages and then find the pick. Then make that LeBlanc work. First tower of the game will be under threat. Afro and Stixay. Actually, 1 or 2 more hits should take this one down and do not manage to get it. So that would have been the first tower. That would have been the global gold, although to be fair, with Lucian Janna, they should just shove that in on this next wave.
Well, they certainly should be able to. However, teleport is available from Faker. No flanking wards is what I was going to say, but Stixay will just take it.
Right, managed to take that one down. Huhi throws the soldiers forward, trades with Faker. Faker just dances around. Again, another trade, advantageous until one more shifting sands, or conquering sands rather, is thrown.
But Faker's gone refillable potion, so this is something that he can trade more efficiently, even though he doesn't have the defensive stats early on in the build, and just continue to whittle down Huhi. It's not necessarily about killing your lane, it's about putting that inherent pressure. Then if the jungler does turn up, you're all of a sudden in a winning 2v2. So not overly aggressive out of SKT's mid laner, but a much more brutal performance so far.
Yeah, well controlled. Trading where possible. The Scuttle Crab was picked up by CLG. Somewhat donated by Bang, who's poking it down. And you can see Blank on your screen. He's got 3 marks already, Spawn. So a little bit more, oh, small dance of arrows.
That's all right.
Oh, ×2. I really hope you can.
There we go, yeah. All right. We got there in the end. It's okay. No one saw it.
It happens to everybody.
That spectator is a jerk, Blank. Don't you listen to him. I think you're class. Both mid laners do get their blue buffs handed over respectively, but even with a turret lead right now, CLG don't have a gold lead, and that's a huge problem because, you know, the scaling is going to come out of SKT. They have 2 teleports, you know, they have superior, I guess, answers to the map play as the game progresses.
I think that is a terrifying fact. Once SKT put this additional pressure to Yush, Huhi's going forward, he doesn't catch Faker, and Faker, because the cooldown on his ultimate wasn't available, unable to go for that additional kill.
And this is something that we saw out of Huhi's Azir yesterday, actually. I mean, he's not known for the champion, but...
Wow, Smithy just gets burst down. Faker dashes back. That means now Smithy and Huhi are in trouble.
And once again, they have to burn the teleport just as Jukes is coming off cooldown. They get absolutely nothing from it. I mean, they make sure that Smithy doesn't die, but that's a tough situation to be in if you are CLG.
It is. Dashan is able to juke or bait Duke out. Duke forced to flash and then get away. Dashan moving forward, winds up the verdict, hits all the minions, but now he's in trouble. Teleport's coming down for Faker, and there's a flash available. Dashan's running out. Flash for flash, gets away from the chains. Sigil of Malice goes down from Faker. The dash is interrupted, but here comes Blank. There's more people at the party. Doshan's not done. Yes, he is. Faker gets the kill. Chrono break for safety, and Duke gets out.
Faker is so good. He used his clone to tank up 2 turret shots there, ensuring that SKT do not fall down in that dive. But CLG respond mid lane.
Tower secured. Global advantage temporarily in favor of CLG. They're not done just yet. Gonna put some autos down onto this inner turret just to tag it before they back away. And Huhi, with blue buff, gonna stick around to try and defend this passive tower for a little bit longer.
Let's take another look at this actual gank in the top lane. So Faker flashes early to try and guarantee a point-blank chain, but Dashan, right move, able to dodge out of that, then gets the W up in time. But Faker using that clone to just tank. It was actually 3 in the end turret shots. They dip in, they get the kill, they get out pretty much with 1 turret shot for that kill. That's very well played. SKT, however, have a really bad habit right now. Their turret control in the early game has honestly been abysmal on day 2. And now in this game as well, they've fallen behind another 2 turrets. Sure, they're not focusing them, but against Royal, I think they only picked up 5. 3 of them were in a single push at like 45 minutes in the game. As Faker goes in one more time.
So good.
Against Flash Wolves, they got 1, and it was the bottom turret. This trend cannot continue as the tournament progresses.
And it will be ended right now. 17 minutes in, the first tower for SKT falls, and it will give them a gold lead. It's equaled by CLG instantaneously. 3 towers to 1, but SKT are not done. Blank is going to force Doshan away. Doshan has not got TP available. Duke does, and we might be in for a little bit of a trade again here, Spawn.
Yeah, but the Arise out of Azir is going to mean that those turrets melt in front of him, and they're still not going to pull out of this one. They're pinging the turret furiously. Faker doesn't have teleport. They might base race this.
This looks to be the case. Recall's coming in for SKT. They're late to this one. The base will be exposed by CLG. How much more can they take? Nothing will be the answer. But they've opened up the base, crucially, at 18 minutes.
And 2-for-1 turret trade for CLG when they're losing 2 lanes. Like, that is just really sloppy play out of the defending world champions. And sure, they do have answers as the game goes on because they are the ones with the double teleport, but you should never put yourself in these holes to have to climb out of, because games like Flash Wolves, games like RNG happen where you cannot.
Especially when you think of the potential. If CLG are able to buy some time with Poke, with Azir, with Janna, and allow Doshan to split push, maybe look towards that inhibitor. There are some options here for CLG as they take the Rift Herald. And at 19 minutes, CLG are 1,000 gold, well, 600 gold up. The problem is, they're 3 towers up and only that amount of gold. It just feels like, yes, SKT are marginally behind, but it doesn't impact them just yet.
Yeah, it's just a weird situation, right, where, sure, SKT want to be playing a bigger map, so you can understand that they don't really mind, but you just want to be trading at least equally in these situations. If you have pressure lanes like Echo, like LeBlanc, realistically, you should be looking to trade favorably, but they just haven't been able to replicate that in their last 3 games. Much sloppier play than what we're used to seeing out of them.
So let's take a look at Blank's performance this game, because we spoke a lot about it yesterday. He's got 4 marks to the Kindred, 26 stacks on Devour. It's very close to being sated. Got an assist on the board, but hasn't really been very impactful. He doesn't even have a sizable farm lead over Xmithy. What's your take?
I would say that...
Oh, let's expand on that in a moment. Blue buff secured by Stick Save. Huhi flies forward, throws Wolf and Blank down. 2 members of SKT stuck on top of Lamb's Respite. The kill goes to Stick Save. They've got a second. They even it out to 2-2. Blank, Bang will pick one up onto Huhe, and Fake is trying to find another 2-for-1 trade in favor of CLG.
Yeah, but we'll see whether SKT can get any position on the map. They want the mid lane turret for it. Still not a great trade, but it would be acceptable. I was going to say that Blank has done his job of nullifying Xmithy, but that's no longer the case. Poor ultimate there.
It is indeed. Faker can't dash away while he's inside that W of Darshan. Parallel Convergent comes down from Duke, and nobody's stunned up. Stick Save, he's gone way forward. The Monsoon is being channeled, keeping CLG alive, and SKT are in the retreat. Darshan continues to chase. The verdict holds Faker in place. He's dashed away, goes backwards. Smithy gets the kill. Counter Logic Gaming are pushing SKT back. Wolf returns into the fight. There's no Fisher available for him, and now SKT are on the front foot. But in the base, Huhi is running. He's coming to join the rest of CLG, and it looks like this one's going to back away. Another dash forward for Stixay. Phase dive from Duke. The fight is still ongoing. Duke Chrono breaks away. Stixay stays alive to fight another day. Afro's now going forward. The fight is still going on. Afro's running out of mana. The culling doesn't do a lot. And finally, everyone backs away.
Yeah, and they just push out enough to get the Azir turret up and ensure that turret does not fall. SKT are not used to teams defending turrets on slithers of health. As we take another look at this replay, I was going to say that Blank has been performing well, but he uses his ultimate so early here. No one is dying yet, Blank.
Oh, we got to jump forward. Huhi, oh, this is going to hurt. Faker dashes forward, hasn't got the kill yet. Barrier, divide, killing the clone. Huhi's tagged, and it's Faker that shuts him down.
Yeah, Wolf comes across with a pretty clutch Q there to make sure they secure the kill. But as I said, doesn't really need the Ignite to take out Azir as the game progresses. So good job out of the SKT mid laner. This is what we wanted to see yesterday. His team's falling behind. It's on him to make the play today.
He manages to make it work. Distortion on his boots as well, so Faker's going to have that flash TP available much quicker. But 22 minutes in.
I want to go back to how CLG defended that mid lane turret, because this is not something you're used to seeing in the LCK. A lot of teams would be like, it's on so low health, we've already won a team fight, let's set up for our next objective. However, CLG are unrelenting. They don't want to give anything away for free, and it honestly killed Faker. It caught him so much by surprise that he just died.
And Stixay dashing forward.
That was
not
unique.
Something we're expecting either, especially after some questions around his performance yesterday. Stixay takes a lot of poke damage. Faker's looking to chunk out Huhi. True Shot Barrage doesn't do the most damage, and the tower still stands on the tiniest sliver of health. CLG, they won't give this up yet.
Yeah, they certainly won't. This is why teams value Lucian and Azir so highly. Their wave clear, as well as team fighting prowess, is generally unmatched in their role. Just able to defend off turrets. You can see it's only, wow, okay.
Getting close.
It's only one hit off death, but the turrets are just, the creeps are just never in a position where they can actually take them down.
Right, not just yet. Right, slowed the tempo of the game. SKT the kill advantage, but down in towers, ahead in dragons. This is important for SKT because the dragon control ability to play around the dragon is sort of what undid them against the Flash Wolf.
So they need to reset up their 1-3-1. I mean, Faker doesn't have teleport available just yet, but does have distortion enchant on his boot, so we'll be able to come.
Oh, it's brave. Bang with the arcane shift able to easily get away.
So you can see that they're trying to re-establish the 1-3-1, pick up all the side wave farm. CLG are doing the right thing. RNGS, they're going to force them to come to an objective early and fight them without their mid laner. Forcing
SKT to fight. Duke was split up top. There's no TPs for either of SKT's members. For a few more seconds at least. Dukes will become available shortly. And CLG, they back away, not willing to risk it.
And Stixay, I approve of your build, not going for the Infinity Edge, recognizing that there is an assassin on the map. He has the shield, so he doesn't really need lifesteal, but he'll have the added bonus of having the Hex Drinker, just in case Faker decides he's the one he wants to kill.
Yeah, Faker's going to have a lot of options. Squishy-ish, Nidalee.
Just kill the Janna. Honestly, we've seen this so much. Janna will reset these teamfights, allows Huhi and Stixay to reposition themselves. Honestly, for now, Faker's best target is take Afro out of a team fight.
Let's find out if he can find their target. Dragon will be picked up here by SKT. You know, coming into this game, SKT had secured 6 dragons and given up 11. Now he's already, the team has already taken 3 this game, while CLG is yet to secure their first.
Yeah, this is telling for CLG now, because they know all too well. I mean, they had the game against Flash Wolves where they just weren't, Flash Wolves weren't able to get on the board, and CLG wrestled them off that objective time and time again. SKT are able to replicate a very similar display in this game.
And with the tower deficit, SKT have extended that gold lead. It's up 2,000 gold now.
Yeah, and this is what happens when you have a composition that is able to 1-3-1 as the game progresses, because you're able to draw the map apart. Darshan can't rotate to both Faker and Duke's lane, so match him with Duke, get Faker in the off lane. Whoever they send there now becomes a kill lane. Wolf can cheat in between vision, Blank can cheat in between vision. and they should be able to catch someone out.
Right, almost Huhi, but he was able to use Zia's full kit to slide away. Down 20 CS to Faker now, and Darshan down 50 CS to Duke.
Well, Darshan is because of his lane. I mean, he got kind of camped after the initial gank from Xmithy, but it's because now all of a sudden Huhi and Stixay have to actually split farm. They're always in the lane together. They can only catch the wave as it finally hits, so that gets chipped down as the wave pushes out. So this should start opening up big advantages for SKT if they can play this map well. They need to get into the top side of the jungle for CLG, who have done a great job of pink warding, get their vision down, and see if they can force a misplay.
Very defensive wards from CLG, 2 blue trinkets. If SKT wanted to start playing around that Baron, could be a little risky in terms of how they're going to answer the Lucian, the Azir, and those tight corridors. But as it stands, there's no pressure on either big objective. Both teams somewhat content to just play the lanes. And of course, SKT, they've got the potential aspect, you know, 12.
Well, both teams actually have really poor engage, so I'm not expecting to see these big team fights where they run at each other. I mean, Darshan can look for a flank, sure, and maybe look for a wallbang if he can catch someone out. But this is really what they're looking for.
Now Aphromu's in trouble. Exhaust already used. Summoning heal by Stixay. Here comes Huhi. He's thrown Wolf into the fight, but Huhi goes down. He donated his life to SKT. Duke joins the fight with a TP, and Faker's held on to his. Is going to be able to dash forward 40 seconds before Huhi is back alive. And Darshan TP'd into that middle lane. SKT 5v4.
Yeah, Faker just going to pressure Darshan away. They collapse on the Baron. As I said, there's no engage really available for this lineup.
There is none whatsoever. Xmithy forced to flash over the wall. The rest of SKT, they're sticking on the Baron. Darshan's going to come in from the side lane. Throws out the Keeper's Verdict. Yes, it's caught the Smite user. Now the rest of CLG, they sense a chance. Look on the left, Xmithy's already killed. Blank's bought enough time to come back onto the Baron, and Duke dashes onto Aphromu. And Monsoon will buy some time before Darshan gets taken down. Bang stays alive. The unbreakable will break. It's a double, a triple for Stixay before Faker shuts him down, and the Baron was not secured.
And for a 4v5, that is probably the best that CLG could hope for. 3 kills onto their AD carry. However, Blank stuck on that Baron, was able to pick it up for the team, and 2 of the 3 lanes will be able to apply that pressure. Importantly, it is Faker's teleport.
Baron was not actually secured, Spawn.
What?
Yep, we'll check the rest of this team fight play out.
How did he not get that? So all of a sudden they go in. Xmithy gets blown up by Faker's LeBlanc, but Darshan, he's already got rid of the jungler and just is such a frontline. And Stixay makes the right choice. He goes aggressive here and is able to pick up 3 kills for himself before he gets taken down. He had to use Lamb's Respite. That's what it was. He couldn't smite through the Lamb's Respite. So once again, an error from the jungler just means they're not able to pick it up.
Blank was standing behind Baron. The fear of CLG in front of Baron, the spikes of Baron from standing behind. Blank unable to pick it up. That is so crucial.
That is crucial. All of a sudden, that is an equal trade after the initial pick for CLG.
And credit to Darshan. The Keeper's Verdict throws away Blank. The moment Blank was out of that pit, CLG committed. Look at the damage dealt. Faker just demolishing CLG.
And he's still going.
And they're looking to demolish Xmithy. True Shot Barrage wasn't enough to pick up the kill, but Duke's phase dive is. Aphromu's in trouble. 5 members of SKT are chasing him down. A dash away from Stixay. Darshan throws out the Verdict. It was a defensive one and it finds nobody. 2 members of CLG are dead, and SKT can re-attempt the Baron.
And all of a sudden, this 1-3-1 pick comp is playing with vision incredibly well. As soon as CLG push up to secure.
Oh, that was brave. Darshan's in trouble. He's going to get tagged by a Mystic Shot. We're following Duke. He chrono breaks back to lane. TP not required.
So all of a sudden, Darshan's in trouble.
Pinning to Faker against the wall. He's looking for the kill. He's got him, but where is Bang? Bang's going to deal a lot of damage on the back line. Darshan's going to die. Stixay gets tagged. Not before he takes 2 with him. It's 3 members of SKT chasing a low mana Huhi. He's going to use the shifting sands over the wall. Throws out the soldiers before being killed himself. And SKT find themselves 4 total kills.
Yeah, and another 3 for 2 at the back end of that. Stixay is very much rolling in these team fights right now, but people are just getting picked off much too quickly at the start.
Sorry, Spawn, it's not over yet. True Shot Barrage. Aphromu's also going to face check.
They're just walking blindly into an area without 5 of their members. I mean, without a real tank, that is a hard Baron for SKT to take down. let's take another look at this, all right? So they just keep checking this vision without actually waiting for SKT to start it up. And sure, they get some good damage there. It was actually a fantastic ult out of Huhi. And Stixay is playing these team fights, I mean, completely out of his mind. But Bang just hasn't got the threat on the back line. Faker's gonna kill him. This is so bad.
How quick will he die? That quick.
So teleport LeBlanc turns out pretty good.
It does indeed. Dashan teleported in for this one, by the way. It's on cooldown. He's gonna get run down. Just donating some presents to SKT. How much time can he buy?
And this is a really sloppy game now out of CLG as the keeper's verdict.
So Dashan will get killed eventually. Gonna do a little bit of damage to Faker, but really nothing to speak of. But you know, yes, CLG are playing quite sloppy, but there's not a lot of control out of SKT either. They're kind of buying into this madness. Huhi looking for Bang.
Yeah, they definitely are. Bang goes for a solo invade on a red buff and has to burn double summoner spells against Huhi's Azir. The game has definitely degraded. SKT grab 4th Dragon.
All right, Dragon number 4, 6 minutes from Aspect for the defending world champions. 5,000 gold lead, double the kills, 8 to 16. And another mark there picked up by Blank. How many is he on? 6 marks of the Kindred.
And it's so funny because SKT, I mean, Bang feels he can invade red because he's like, right now the 3 members from CLG should be setting up vision around Baron because that's where we've been baiting. Darshan's bottom, he's eventually going to die. They're not going to save him, so they should be using this time proactively. Instead, top half of the map still nearly completely black for CLG, so they're just not utilizing what they need to get done in this game, and it's very rapidly fallen out of their control.
In the last 10 minutes, Spawn, SKT have got 13 kills, while CLG have secured 4. And of those 13, I can count 4 or 5 that CLG gifted, that they elected to teleport in, elected to engage on Wolf, for example, when Huhi dove in. And CLG have given themselves a very difficult challenge after what looked like a good play at that Baron.
Yeah, and now without teleport, without the correct vision around this objective, they are going to have to face check.
And let's find out how it works. Dashan's gone in. He's found Blank. Emperor's Divide sends Blank backwards. The Lamb's Respite will buy some time for Duke to arrive. Their full channel on Monsoon from Afram will be interrupted. Bang is down. Stixay's the one that gets it. They turn their attention to Duke. SKT are in trouble. Faker finds no chains. 5 members of CLG are pushing forward, and it's a 45-second death timer.
Afro also able to stop up that. What is going on? So it turns out the way to beat SKT is just team fight them.
Let's find out if it works. Huhi gets tagged, but doesn't get killed. No summoner spells available for Huhi. And CLG, they've bought time, but they are still down. They are behind in gold. Faker's going to look for the chains onto Stixay, unable to follow up.
But all of a sudden there's a reprieve. They don't have to deal with double teleport. They can get vision control back around this Baron objective. And SKT, honestly, looked like they were in the driving seat, but once again, Darshan pulls the trigger, draws the teleport to them, and they'll start up the Baron for themselves.
Both of these teams came into this day 2-2. The first half will have a positive, or the winner of this will have a positive win record in the first half of groups. Let's find out if this Baron decides it. Initiation from SKT, not the strongest, nor is it from CLG. Baron is down to 50%. Sand Soldiers will buy some space, buy some time. Faker dashes back to the clone. Baron's down to 2,000. It's going to look to get burst. Darshan dashes into the river. Baron's secured for America. They've taken down Blank. There was no Lamb's Respite, but that was a massive parallel convergence. Duke Chrono breaks for some additional damage. Nobody from CLG is dead, and Huhi is looking for Wolf. They're chasing them down. 2 members of SKT down, and Baron to CLG.
Darshan has teleport. This might be the game-winning play. There's 50 seconds on the top laner and 35 on the jungle. CLG looking to push down mid.
Counter Logic Gaming with Baron buff on 5 members are grouping in the middle lane. They are pushing onto the inhibitor turrets, and they have got damage for days. Teleport comes from Darshan. Faker has to go massive to defend this push.
There's still 30 seconds left on Duke. CLG walking into the base. Faker goes for it.
It's not going to be enough. 3 members of SKT alive. No true shot barrage to try and whittle down these members. CLG, they're not letting up. 5 seconds before Blank is up. And while CLG commit, they've decided to back away, playing this one safe. 10 seconds for Duke. It's not over yet.
No, it certainly isn't. And honestly, now it becomes not that massive of a deal. They get back to equal gold, but at 35 minutes, Faker's actually teleported in. 6
And
dead.
Stixay's dead! Faker TPs for the kill. All of a sudden, SKT in a 5v4.
And I said it at the start of the day, Faker, if your team falls behind, you need to be the man that makes the play. And so far on this LeBlanc, he is definitely doing that. He still wants Darshan.
9, 2, and 4. Faker wants to answer the critics from yesterday and lead SKT to a win. To not go 3 losses in a row. Duke's gonna tank up this turret while the rest of SKT push it down. 25 seconds before Stixay comes back alive.
Yeah, and he is so much of the gold right now. 8, 3, and 2. Faker gets knocked away. Let's see if they fight.
CLG looking for it. No real follow-up though. 15 before Stixay's up. The tower's getting chunked. Super Minions will buy some additional time.
And they need to back away. Top wave is massive for CLG. Bottom wave is huge for SKT. Return the map to some form of normalcy. I mean, 5th Dragon is up in 1 minute for SKT, so they're not even going to have to deal with the waves, really. They can just shove out, get towards that objective, and look for another team fight.
After losing to Turkey Supermassive yesterday in shocking fashion.
Pretty spectacular fashion. I mean, they lost out on lanes. Let's take another look at this one. Darshan able to tackle away Blank, and he gets blown up because he's so tunneled on the Baron that he's just walking towards it. Emperor's Divide separates Duke from everyone and ensures that Faker can't get his damage down, and from there, it's just a one-team fight for CLG.
One team fight that gave CLG another lifeline, another opportunity in the game. They closed out the gold. The difference is insignificant at this stage. But 20 seconds until Dragon. Look at those gold swings. That's a gold swing against SKT.
Yeah, it certainly is. And now with a Zia turret in the mid lane, they're going to shorten the super minion lane to try and guarantee vision up the middle. However, Duke's teleport is available. Faker's is not, but they still have one flanking play to make.
Let's find out who will work it out. Duke teleport is up. He's in the base. He's got the home guards. Dragon is available. It's been started. It's been tagged. Teleport begins to channel. It's in the left-hand side. Look at the Raptor camp. Here comes Duke from behind Counter Logic Gaming. Darshan throws out the verdict and finds nobody. Duke's in the back line. Parallel Convergence stuns up no one, but the Fisher will split them up. Aspect to Korea. They've got it. Dragon number 5. CLG's on the wrong side of the base, and the fight breaks out. Huhi throws down the Divine. Flashes away to stay alive. Nobody's dead yet. That is until Wolf goes down. CLG, they find a kill, but they lose Huhi. 4 versus 4. Aspect is with SKT.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they're still looking to continue the fight. CLG have minions in their base. They're caught on the wrong side of the map.
Blank puts down a wall. There's nobody there, though.
You do not want to go over that wall, Blank. Just trust me on that one. They get 5th Dragon. They trade 1 for 1. But CLG, with this team fighting comp, I mean, they have Infinity Edge. They are about to have the Zhonyas on Huhi, so we can keep making these bold plays. Just seem to have the team fights covered for now.
Counter Logic Gaming have the hopes of North America on their shoulders. We've heard multiple players saying they not only want to show up for themselves, for their own region, but they want to show up against everybody here on the international stage. And look at the damage difference. Stixay is really making an impact.
He's going off at the moment. And honestly, to do it against Faker's LeBlanc, especially when Faker is so fed, is huge. Faker only got 400 damage out in that 5th Dragon team fight because it's just so hard to get it done against the likes of the Janna, against the Poppy.
How does Faker find targets with more Malmortiers, with Vamp Scepter on Stixay? He's a little more survivable. Hourglass getting closer and closer for Huhi. Smithy's got a bunch of HP to work with. He's going to finish his Hourglass before Huhi does.
Honestly, this game has degraded to the point where SKT have gone away from playing around their 2 teleports. They're using them 1 individually, so kind of every second fight goes in their favor when Darshan hasn't got his available. Yeah.
That was close.
It's scary. Don't walk through your own jungle anymore, Smithy. That's not yours. But they do need to reset the map now, SKT. Try and pull this team fighting comp apart and take advantage of it. Get your deep flanks one more time, because that's when the game was working for them. Ever since they started ramming their head into CLG, it's just started to fall apart.
Yeah, and CLG, they rammed their head back.
Yeah.
It looked terrible at one time. trading 13 kills for 4 in a 10-minute period. But it doesn't matter, now that they've got those crucial picks, now that they got the Baron that bought the time, I think Aspect has worn off as well. If I look at SKT, yes, it has shortly, about a third of the time, quarter of the time rather, remaining. And if CLG can just stall out again, wait for the next Baron, that's going to be the next objective to battle over.
And all Stixxay has to do is survive. He has 9 kills. He's nearly completed 6 items. He has the Janna. He has a GA Poppy as well as the Azir. And Xmithie's going to bop him up with that heal to no extent. Like, this Lucian is the win condition now. Such a weird protect the comp, but Stixxay needs to step up.
And that's the question. Can CLG protect him? Yes, Stixxay has to be in the right place, the right time. But if he gets shut down, that's a lot of the damage gone. Huhi, 1, 5, and 6. Yes, he's Azir. Yes, he can do a lot. But he hasn't had the opportunity yet. CLG calling SKT's bluff. They're grouping as 5. Duke's down bottom. Duke's opens up the base. But CLG, they're pushing forward.
Yeah, they still want to base race this team, so they go for the inhibitor trade. What else can they get for it? Duke sticking around for the inhibitor. All of a sudden, CLG have inside track onto the Baron buff.
2 teleports for SKT available. Duke should be able to take this bottom inhib. It's going to be a trade. And currently, SKT have vision around Baron. CLG. Now shot calling gets tested. Now we see who can dig deep, who has the stronger nerves in the face of adversity, who he's sliding forward. Faker and Wolf somewhat on the wrong
Duke's
side
on
of the
base.
map.
He's trying to take down the win. Duke is not stopping here, and all of a sudden, CLG have no idea what to do. SKT's on Baron.
CLG started this push, now they're the ones that have to answer. Baron is being tagged and started and rushed by SKT. Duke is peeled away from the lane looking for a teleport. Faker does not connect with Stixxay, and Huhi gets chunked out. Teleport from Dashan, but look at Duke, he's not channeled it yet. Baron is being started. Counter Logic Gaming are looking for the purple buff. The hammer throws Wolf into the pit, and CLG get it. Stixxay's on the front line, flashes, he's down! There's no more damage from CLG, but Huhi's the one that has to do it. He's being jumped on by Duke. They've managed to kill Bang. Both ADCs are dead, and CLG the numbers advantage. They're looking for Faker. They've got him! Xmithie kills Faker. Counter Logic Gaming looking for an ace. They've got Duke chasing him down. Pounce after pounce, and Xmithie tags him, kills him. CLG may have done it!
For the 3rd time in 2 days, CLG will take out SKT. This is unbelievable. They've still got 4 members up.
Counter Logic Gaming are pushing into the base. Dashan's still got a GA, and it's only Wolf remaining. CLG are onto the Nexus turrets. CLG are pushing SKT, and it looks like they're going to do it. The focus is the Nexus, and Counter Logic Gaming score a magnificent win for America against the defending world champions.
And Xmithie one more time. He got the 50-50 Baron. He kills Duke, and Faker is distraught. His LeBlanc has fallen for a 2nd time at MSI.
SKTelecom are on a 3-game losing streak.
On international level, like, just let that sink in. The team that dropped 1 map at the whole of Worlds, the team that dropped, I think, a map at IEM, now in what was arguably their best form of 2016, have lost 3 back-to-back games in the group stages.
Nobody talked about SKT coming into this tournament because the discussion was who fights for 2nd. And you can see the trouble that SKT have had all year long. It has been their most problematic year and split and season, both locally and now internationally as well.
Yeah, and once again, CLG, they dropped a game yesterday to Turkey's Supermassive, now taking out the defending world champions for North America.
And the way in which it was won, CLG had advantages in terms of turrets, but were unable to convert it into complete map control. And then had to reclaim it from SKT.
And they went back to team fighting for some reason. As the game progresses, SKT were just happy to go towards the team fights with them. They had a beautiful 1-3-1 comp, but Dashan, unrelenting on the Poppy, just started team fight after team fight, and they were winning them all.
The debates that have happened, you can see the smiles. The local production have like a replay reel on the big screen. at the end of every game. And right now, CLG are watching the clips, are watching the fights of their emphatic victory against SKTelecom. What a turning point for the mid-season Invitational here in Shanghai.
What a turning point for North America, honestly. There's been so much said about this region. Now for CLG, with 2 rookies in their lineup, able to take it to the world champs. That's honestly unbelievable. And for Huhi and Stixxay and Xmithy, the 3 players that you have so many questions about, to step up and perform the way they did in that game. Behind Afro Shockling, I said they didn't know what to look like, they knew what to do. As soon as they made the call, everyone followed.
I think that's fair. Every fight that CLG initiated, every Baron, defend, or engage, as a team they committed, 100%. And Xmithy just, really good performance in that Nidalee. He felt like he was in the right place at the right time. He got early summoner spells from SKT, and you know what? I think there has to be big questions around not only the performances, but Blank and the impact that he's having.
And unlike Blank, he justified the first pick. I mean, they pick it up for him. They give all the power to their jungler. They say, this is the best pick. A lot of people consider it the sole best pick on the patch, maybe along with Alistar. And Xmithy was able to rise to the occasion and make it work in the team fights. That is so hard to do.
Exceptional game here at MSI to round out the first half of the group stage. Just one more game to go. Before we get to that, let's head over to the analyst desk to talk about CLG's win over the defending world champs.
Oh my goodness, quick shot. You should have seen everyone jumping around and screaming here on the desk. At the beginning of the day, we had said, CLG, they lost to Supermassive. They're playing Supermassive again today. They're going to take the fight to them. No, they didn't wait for the Supermassive game. They came and took the fight to SKT of all teams. I do want to jump into the last fight of the game. I want to rewatch it. Kobe, I want you to walk us through it. Let's watch that before we go into the analytical
Stop screaming, man.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much that went.
That was a quick fight.
Replay of that pillar right there. That's how strong North America is. They're holding up the stadium right now. Honestly, yeah. Hey, we're in the same club now. We both beat SKT. All right,
sorry,
I don't know about him, but honestly, yeah. This game, since we don't have the replay though, this game, CLG was behind a little bit the entire game. Okay, never mind. Well, let's jump into this replay because this is the late game where CLG have thrived on their shot calling, and they had to force this because SKT were going on the Nexus turrets. They forced again this Baron. They're going to get the smite with both Stixxay and Xmithy on it, and then Stixxay again. He's consistently going so aggressive. This time, Faker finally finds him and gets that assassination. But the Azir and Janna, CLG draft these 2 defensive, really big ultimates that they're able to use to keep Huhi alive this time. They've got 2 late game damage threats, and they're able to pin Faker against that wall with the pink ward to take him out. Bang also arcane shifted into the Baron pit, and they took him out right after Stixxay went down.
2 other things as well. Duke was debating, should I go back and get home guard, should I try and finish? He actually comes in extremely late with the teleport right there. Dashawn is instantly in there, and he also stuns the Kindred into wall. No ulti from Blank because Dashawn ulted him himself and knocked him into the wall.
A lifetime of split pushing is the experience that Darshan has. Literally, that's his League of Legends play for 5 years.
Yeah, very much
so. He was instant on coming in.
I just want to make a quick note. We will be talking to Afro Mu and Huhi in just a moment, but we're going to continue to break down this game. Now it's time to take it all the way back to Champions League and work our way to that final fight, because that was a long game, and it took a while for CLG to get into the position to win a fight like that. So, Clemens, start me off. Champion select here, that Nidalee first pick. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, the Nidalee first pick hasn't really worked in this tournament. When we're seeing traded with Kindred, Kindred is actually 7-2 now in this tournament, so Kindred is it's a much better pick. And also the blind Azir into Faker LeBlanc. I thought that was super risky. So coming into the ban pick, I thought SKT actually had an edge. But really, over the game, we saw LeBlanc ganking more with teleport, and that really let Huhi back into the game a little bit.
Yeah, there are quite some few things with their Nidalee. I'm glad we both agreed.
Yeah, the Nidalee, because the Nidalee is tied to the Poppy pick, right? Those are 2 picks that we kind of had a thing with where there's a... they used to be the same tier. It's Nidalee and Kindred and Poppy and Echo. But the nerfs to Poppy were more significant than the nerfs to Echo. And because they spend their first pick on Nidalee, it ties them into having to take that Poppy into Echo matchup, which was problematic as well.
It's just, first of all, dynamic in champ select. When you first pick Nidalee, your first pick is meant to be something where not only do you want to steal something away from the other team, you also want to secure the best available pick for yourself. Problem is, when they first pick Nidalee, you actually don't really take anything from SKT because they rather play Kindred after losing with Nidalee twice yesterday, and you also give the superior matchup to of course, Duke in the top lane, and he won that matchup. Same thing also when you have Nidalee Poppy. The problem is when you have Nidalee Poppy, Nidalee can only play bot side. Because Poppy will lose the matchup to the Echo 1v1, so you cannot play topside invades because Echo will just walk down behind and kill you. So you basically share farm now with the enemy jungler, which is a Devour jungler who wants to farm up that Devour very easily. Nidalee wants to invade, and that's why she doesn't have impact in the early game when she's picked in these compositions, because people keep picking her with Poppy, who's losing lane to Echo.
Yeah.
Okay, so this transitions to the point that I was talking about earlier. The entire game, 30 minutes of CLG being slightly behind this game because SKT, they won every single lane in CS. Yeah. They had gold leads just from CS. There were no turrets taken. They earned them all themselves. Plus, they actually had a gold lead in the jungle as well over Nidalee, which is extremely rare. And due to the things that Deficio was just talking about, and it came down to CLG holding on for so long with this slight disadvantage, giving away all of the dragons, literally all of the dragons.
Every single one.
Focusing so heavily on Baron Vision and holding on with their team fight comp. The big thing that everyone criticized North America for is their support picks were so different from everyone else. And everyone was like, they're garbage. North America, stupid region, they don't know what they're doing. They're always playing these range supports. But the defensive Janna plus Azir combo kept the backline safe in so many of these team fights
situations.
with these shields. Oh my goodness, it was so close to taking
Clement,
out
I want to
Stixxay.
come to you. Yeah, talking about Stixxay. Kobe finishes it off right there, but I want to talk about Stixxay because at the beginning of the day, you were saying we came into this tournament with question marks for CLG, Huhi, and Stixxay. Stixxay coming up real big in that game.
Exactly. If we're talking about like the Baron bait, I actually thought that was a bit detrimental to CLG because they were going around the Baron a lot when LeBlanc was in the bot lane, but that's when SKT actually overtook the CS lead. You really saw them snowballing with their 1-3-1, and Darshan was, Duke was up 80 CS at some points. The really turning point in the fight was when Bang went over the wall to try to catch Hui, and 2 heals came down. CLG wiped a 5k deficit.
To be fair,
offensive from there.
SKT had a composition that was not built to run into teamfights over and over. The reason some people don't like Janna as a support is she cannot force anything. She's only good in teamfights itself and then the laning phase. So when you pick teleport mid for Faker, you want to play 1-3-1 and you want to play around Azir and Janna. And they didn't. They walked straight into it.
I'm sorry, Kobe. I know you want to get in. There's so much to say. There's so much to say about this game, but we're not the only ones who have stuff to say about it. It's time now to send it down to Shox, who's joined by a couple of North America's victorious CLG.
Yeah, well, I love to hear you guys talk, but I love to hear these guys talk even more. Huhi and Afromu, after taking down SKTelecom here at MSI, I got to start with the end of that game because it was incredibly close if we heard this guys explaining. Then it turned down to that Baron call. Stixxay died, and he had been your carry for the most part of that game. Huhi, talk me through what happened in the end phases of that.
In the most of the team fight, like we were trying to help Trevor so we were using like all the abilities to pill for him. But like suddenly Trevor died, so like everyone was talking about play with Azir, protect him, and then like they were like all pilling for me. So and Darshan has some great W on LeBlanc and stopped his damage and stunned him. And like we had late game Azir, which is pretty easy to play, and they poked them. So yeah, it was pretty.
Afromu, we heard Kobe there as well, touching on the fact those ranged supports in NA. But tell me how Janna proved to be so incredibly important in this matchup in those fights.
Well, range supports aren't as bad as people make them out to be. I think the West, mainly Adrian, Matt, and myself, that comes off the top of my head, that do play the range supports. They definitely have their place in the meta. And this game specifically, they had Braum, LeBlanc, Echo. Janna can stop through those 3 pretty easily. And Braum shield actually takes the tornado as well. So it's kind of a counter, but not really. But playing with Lucian and Azir, it's really easy for Janna to manipulate the fight and control it as a control support. Yeah. And that's what we went for. We knew they were going to 1-3-1, but even though their 1-3-1 had a lot of dashes and assassin-type champions, they couldn't really do anything versus a Janna. And we knew that going into the late game, we would be able to win that way, even though we got behind early.
Well, I love that you talk about just the champions of LeBlanc, the Echo, the Braum, not about Duke, Faker, because one thing I took away from your interviews beforehand was, I think it was you even after that said, you can't go in, or maybe Darshan, you can't go into these games being afraid of your opponent. You have to be respectful. Is that what in the end now helped you in this game versus SKT, knowing that you could take them but staying respectful?
We definitely like respect them because they're like 2 times world champion and then they're a really, really good team. but we always knew that we could be the best as well. So coming to this tournament, like we had the motto like fear none but respect all. So yesterday it kind of went off, but today we just like had a new mindset, and then we talked about as a team again for like 1 hour again. So yeah. We weren't afraid at all.
In some way, did you maybe need that loss yesterday versus Supermassive to kind of reinforce what you'd set for yourself in the tournament?
Losing definitely hurts, but all the teams here are the best in their region, so there's no reason to not respect them. And I thought they played actually really well yesterday. Their bot lane is pretty good. I would rank them top 3 bottom lanes here at the tournament right now. So we just got outplayed yesterday.
All right, just a couple of more questions. Huhi, of course, a lot of focus is on you and Stixay as the new players coming in and that international experience. There's been a lot of criticism as well. How do you think you have done so far?
So far, I was laning pretty well, I'll say. But I'll say my team fights or the mid game was pretty off because I don't know, like they had really good synergy on mid jungle, and then I'll not say that me and Xmini got there yet. So it's kind of getting off in the mid game and late game. But in laning phase, I'm pretty confident that I can beat them.
Hey, you guys beat SKT with Faker. You were alluding to it. If anything, you guys at least did that afro. That's a big feat. We also have a little bit of a replay here of your celebration after the game. We're going to get that up on the screen.
Oh my God. Holy.
It's slow-mo.
Let's go.
And you can see the shirts very well as well. All right, can you teach me how you do that?
Oh, the fake high five into the dab. Do you know what the dab is?
No, please teach me.
Okay, well, here, hold my microphone. Well, the dab is basically, you know, the Draven pose where you go like this, right? But you're gonna put your head down like that. And so essentially we can do it. I'll stand up.
All right.
You can go for the high five. So you fake the high five into the dabs.
Well, that's a first. On a more serious note, though, looking ahead, obviously, great start, then that supermassive loss, a bit of inconsistency there. You said in the beginning, the first time I talked to you, I'm surprised at how the supports here and the teams in general, when they decide to go, they go. They don't wait 1 second. How are you adjusting to that, and how far do you think you can go if you adjust to that correctly?
Well, I would say playing against these supports that have the go button is refreshing because I know that what my limits are, essentially. Normally in North America, I can push the limit even a little bit more because I know that they won't punish me for overextending or something like that. But at this tournament, it's definitely a good indicator of what my skill level is like versus these supports, and I think I'm going to take that as a challenge. I already am for this tournament, and it's really fun to play against them.
Yeah, Huhi, maybe finally expectations still for this tournament. After yesterday, you might have been somber, but now you beat the world champion. Stixay said top 2 a couple of days ago. Where do you find yourself? Do you think you will?
I'll say we can 100% go top 3, and it doesn't really, like, we don't really care which place we are as long as we get out of the group stage, because we're going to prove that we're going to be the best team in the group in the playoffs.
Yeah, finally you said it was very important to show that NA was not just another region. With this win versus SKT, do you feel like you've done that a bit?
Kind of a little bit. We've shown that we can beat SKT. That's good, but these are group stages, so they're best of ones, and I think the best of 5 playoffs will definitely show a lot more. But if we can show that we can beat them in the group stages, that means that we have a big morale boost, confidence boost, that we can win the whole tournament.
Yeah, just fantastic performance overall from you guys. Congratulations. CLG taking down the world champion. Unbelievable almost. We're going to take a quick break. We need it after that here at MSI 2016. But when we come back, G2 Esports takes on Supermassive. So don't go anywhere.
Did you guys watch The Jungle Book?
Yeah. No.
Oh yeah, me and Zach went. Dude, the thing I actually loved about that movie is like the little speech or whatever, when they say that the wolf is as strong as the pack and the pack is as strong as the wolf.
Safety.
Dude, that meant something to me, dude.
Here comes Blank. There's more people at the party. Doshan's not done. Yes, he is. Faker gets the kill.
I got it. Let's go.
I'm gonna E ulti. No.
This one. Nice. I can go in 2 seconds.
Bang stays stays alive. The unbreakable will break. It's a double, a triple for Stixay.
You know, Kindred, take it. Turn. Nice. I'm son. We're fine. I exhausted LeBlanc. LeBlanc is down. Nice, I'm hitting bomb. Come on. I got it. Nice. Come here. Group up. We have the base together.
Stixay's on the front line. Flashes. He's down. There's no more damage from CLG, but he's the one that has to do it. He's being jumped on by Duke. They've managed to kill Bang. Both ADCs are dead and CLG in a numbers advantage. They're looking for Faker. They've got him. And Counter Logic Gaming scoring magnificent win for America.